At Christmas time, there's always loads of games being played, including the old favourite, hide and seek.
It could be to keep the kids quiet, or it could be to prepare them for the adult version, where they could win £100,000.
So forget hiding in the wardrobe or under the bed.
Damn it, I knew you'd find me.
Would you have what it takes to go all the way?
Or would you be hunted?
Hello, Chief, how you doing?
All right, thank you. More importantly, how are you doing?
We're all right. We like a challenge.
Stand by, stand by, stand by. Out, out, out. Up to 7 persons.
7 persons.
8.
Short of jumping into the canal, their options are reasonably limited, and we also think they may have had a bit too much to drink last night.
It's a BMW, Ben. We have got live telematics on the vehicle.
You fucking beauty.
Curtains drawn.
Why are they drawn at this time of day?
Be in that fucking house.
There's movement, yeah? Confirm movement?
There is movement in the property. Hunter team, open the door, please. House surrounded. My name's Craig.
And I'm Nat. In 2022, we discovered Hunted and are now obsessed.
But like with every other obsessive TV show we watch, we're left with unanswered questions.
Like, what does it take to be a deputy? Do you get some sort of badge or a big hat?
Do you ever miss a capture if you go to the toilet at the wrong time?
In a competition for who is the best to work for, who would win? Hunted HQ or the Heist HQ?
And would you ever swap the comfort of the office for the thrill of the chase on the ground?
Let's find out as we welcome back Deputy Ray Howard
to the Hunted Podcast.
Could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.
Hello and welcome back to the festive version of the Hunted Podcast. Merry Christmas unto you, and to you, and to you, and to you, Jordan.
and to you.
Thank you.
Can I tell you a Christmas joke?
Of course. Oh, hang on. Is the punchline about Jordan? Because if it is, I don't want to hear it because it's not hashtag sorry Jordan. It's hashtag Merry Christmas Jordan for December.
No, it's not.
Okay, right. Hit me with it.
What is Santa afraid of?
I don't know what Santa's afraid of.
The Elf and Safety Officer.
That's a much better delivery than the first time you did it as well. Well done. So, right. It's not just us two sitting in our bedroom with our second Christmas tree.
Nope.
Talking Christmas and talking nonsense and telling each other Christmas jokes. That's Christmas Day.
Yeah.
What are we here to do?
We are here to listen to our little chat, big chat, with Ray Howard.
Yes. So, cast your minds back a few months ago, the last time we had a series out, it was Hunted Revisited, all about Hunted series
1.
episodes.
All.
Episodes all. I was expecting you to go 1 and 2 and 3. Episodes all. And of course, at the end of the series, we got Ray Howard on to give us his thoughts as the current deputy, looking at someone who was currently in the HQ versus as it was then. Fantastic episode. Go back and watch it, listen to it, all of that stuff. And if you've missed last week's episode, go back and listen to that, because after our chat about Hunted Revisited, we popped the kettle on, we popped the cameras back on, and we just talked for like 2 hours, right?
We did, yes.
Non-stop. Everything from how he got involved in Hunted to the series that's upcoming, whether or not he'd want to go out on the ground, and of course a little bit about the heist. Now, I'm going to be honest, I've got no idea what you've already listened to, and I've got no idea what you're about to listen to, because it was that long ago, I forgot what was happening.
Yeah.
But what were we talking about last time? Where we left it off, what were we talking about?
We were talking about Bobby helping
Bobby.
Danielle.
Yeah, probably Queen of the Jungle by now.
Possibly Animate.
Yeah, the other one.
Yeah, the other one. Bobby.
Really, by the way, really sorry about that, whoever you are. We just can't remember, and we're so tired. We've been up since 5 o'clock.
Bobby helping those two.
Yes. Now, I have a little premonition.
Go on then.
I have a premonition that we were talking about Bobby helping the other two, And then how me and you, nearly got some fugitive captured.
Yes.
Shall we find out if that comes true?
Yes.
Sit back and enjoy part 2 of our chat with
Ray Howard.
So with the new series, it's quite interesting. We mentioned this with JP and Bex when we had them on about a month or so ago now. Because of the way in which the podcast had grown over that period, Celebrity Hunted, the next one, filmed just after Celebrity Hunted, the previous one, had aired. So it was still very prevalent. In fact, when we interviewed Cashmore, it was the day before filming was going to start because he was waiting for some stuff to come through and everything. But obviously we've got a similar looking logo. It's the same logo with the word podcast written under it, which for someone that works in media and marketing, that's really lazy of me, but it's stuck. Obviously our page is Hunted Pod, but it's got the word hunted in it. And if you're not really looking at it like in detail, you're going to get confused. I mean, how you would, because Hunted's got like really loads of followers. We haven't.
Yeah.
Somebody messaged our page thinking we were Hunted HQ during the run, and it was for the soap stars who obviously everyone knows who they are. Danielle, who was on EastEnders, and whoever ran with her, I can't remember now. Someone who was on Corrie. And they sent us information about them, and we were like, well, we don't know what to do with this now, because there's part of us as viewers that don't want to pass it off, but there's also part of us as a podcast, and from a the self-promotion point of view, selfishly, that we think, we can have some fun with this. So we then put it on our Instagram, a little bit of a poll of, should we share the information with HQ? We're always going to share the information with HQ.
Good.
Always going to share it. And people said, yeah, share it. So we then got the WhatsApp number for HQ and was messaging the people behind it who we obviously know. Turn the microphones off for that bit. So yeah, people sort of could, we were messaging those people and telling the information. And then people at HQ was like, right, well, can you do a bit of covert work for us? Because there's a Hunted, I don't know if you know this, there's a Hunted Facebook group. I think your wife's in it.
Yes, she is, yes.
So there's a Hunted Facebook group and people putting information about that. And we were then messaging them to see what their story was. And straight away they were like, no, we're just messing up. But there was a few that were actually feeding us information, which when we were passing back. So we actually played a little bit of a sly
little covert role
in that. It won't get on screen, and it won't be so convoluted for them to explain how they got it.
Yeah,
just information. But
and that is one of the issues with Hunters. Sometimes it's quite a convoluted. How we get to that point is quite convoluted, and people go, "Well, how did you get there?" But it's too. It would take up too much time, screen time, to explain.
I mean, we've just spent 4 minutes explaining that, and that's time where they could be ringing home or getting messing around with water guns, shouting, "Eat piss." So there's much more like comic value or like whatever value to it. But we really enjoyed that, and I think that really sort of opened our eyes a little bit, didn't it, to what we could potentially do in the future.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to see like how easily people thought we were actually hunted and how quickly they would just give up the information.
Yeah, people gave up the information very, very quickly, and it's interesting to see like them trying to back their story up as well. Like I've always like, Would I Lie to You is such a silly TV game because it is in such a short space of time, but there is part of me that like thinking about like my future career. At some point I'd love to actually work for a police force and maybe do like a course on digital intelligence, because what people put on their social media, they might put a story on, but actually it tells another thing. So like, for example, I've actually managed to put this into use in the last few days. I've been trying to sell a camera of mine, and you get so many scam artists coming in, like scammers coming in, and straight away you can ask them questions and they'll be like saying in one reply, but then like one of them said, "Oh yeah, I live in Stoke." Well, go on his profile. His profile says he lives in London.
Right.
His profile's got no friends.
Dodgy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think watching Hunted and being able to like learn from that has really, really helped. And we've always spoken about what we want to do in the future with the podcast. Obviously, we're going to keep doing what we're doing in terms of like watching and reacting to the show. But we feel like there's probably some good that can be done with it, especially in terms of like scams and
scam awareness and the process that people do in staying safe online. It's a really good avenue to explore. I think.
Definitely, and you've got some real experts on all those things. I mean, I suppose I'm sure you spoke to Bex about romance fraud and all that side of things, and you've got cyber experts and fraud experts all within that office. And I think there's something there. Yeah, definitely, we could get a message out to the public about what are the high risk areas to look out for.
One of the things we did actually when we first started watching Hunter, we go back to Ben again. He's now started doing like lots of seminars and stuff, which a lot of ex-military and police end up doing. He did one that was really fascinating where he basically found a random name from somebody and in the space of an hour found out all their information, did reverse image searches, got all of his details and all of that sort of stuff, and just really, really, went to town on it, and it was so eye-opening.
So much about them. Like, he found so much stuff in such a short amount of time, and I think it's definitely made us more aware of what we put out.
Yeah.
Like, we used to, every time we went somewhere, we'd be checking in or we'd be putting a photo, and I think it made us a lot more aware of how much people could get just from that small post. And I know that we both don't do as much now.
I think that's a big thing on celebrity hunters as well. Even civilian hunter, because people's social media profiles tell a lot about them. So, like, for example, in the civilian series that we've seen, the married couple, were they married or the boyfriend and girlfriend? I can't remember. The couple from Sheffield who were walkers.
I'm not sure.
Was that Myrig and Eleanor? Was that?
No,
they were
Wales. Oh, what was? I can't remember the name. I knew you'd be on it. You usually have it in your other notebook, don't you?
Yeah, but you've not brought my other notebook. Liam and Katie. I think they were urban explorers.
Oh yes, of course.
And that was the prime example of how social media can, let you get captured, because you guys just searched that, noticed that they were urban explorers, and went, they're probably going to do that. Let's explore that possibility. And lo and behold, there they were.
Yeah. Well, that was weird actually, because only 2 places came up, I think, within that area, and one of them, I'd never heard of it. It was like these big tunnels in Sheffield. I can't remember the name of it now, but you can go and explore these big tunnels. But when we looked at it, it was completely booked out, and you couldn't just walk up and go into it. So if you were planning, and then there was the disused ski area,
which was the one where they were.
Yeah, and that was the only one you could really go to just out of the blue, because it's obviously just open. You don't have to book any tickets or anything. But so that was really. I can't remember who found that information now. I might have been, because that was during COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had. We had some changes in the office as a result of that.
Yeah,
and people coming in.
The Australian series did as well. So at one point in the Australian series, they were very, very limited. Like, all of the leads were out of the game for X amount of time.
Yeah.
There's a massive jump in when they capture people in the Australian one. It literally goes from day 4 to day 17, and it's not what the fugitives. It's the fact of resource. Yeah. And we were going to ask about that. Obviously, there were obviously COVID measures in place, which we saw a lot of on screen. Like, when people got into people's cars, there were the COVID screens up. But if someone, even with the latest series, the Celeb series, Nikesh tested positive before filming started, so
that's right,
couldn't join at the start.
Yeah.
So it does play a
big part. Yeah, and they need to be very, very careful about that, especially at the time. I know things have moved on a bit, but certainly at the time they had to be very, very cautious. And we all had to keep a certain distance apart. There were people that still, caught COVID, and people came in to replace them on quite short periods of time. But yeah, and I think that was when they discovered the Sheffield link and the ski site link. But it's amazing, these places that are out there.
Yeah,
I find out so many things on Hunted that I didn't know. Like Taskmaster, the only grief I've ever got. I know everyone loves Taskmaster, right? I've never seen it. Now, I said that, didn't I, on screen? Oh, my goodness me, I got a bit of a bombardment.
Oh, yes, you did, yeah. James and Ed went to the Taskmaster house.
They went to the Taskmaster house. So
let's clarify, you've now watched it and are now obsessed with it, right?
No.
What?
I'm going to get so much grief over this as
well.
People going, but you're on the same channel, as if somehow,
Oh, I know, yeah.
Because on Channel 4, I never watch anything other than Channel 4, because I don't watch a lot of telly, Craig. That's the thing. And I'm aware of Taskmaster, and it's on my list of things to watch, but I'm sorry, I just haven't watched it yet.
It's just a daft little show. We were so pleased that they.
Everyone knew about it. This was the thing. That's why I felt so out of the loop. Okay, and when I said, "What's that? What's Taskmaster?" I mean, people looking at me side eyes. What's he on about? But I've never seen it. So.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. It's that the couple that captured in Sheffield was funny because Bex told a brilliant story about being hungover because she wasn't supposed to be on.
Well, she was
day.
behind the rock, wasn't she?
Yeah,
there was a whole thing about the rock. That's right.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. What's the feeling like when somebody is captured then in HQ? Because we do see it, and obviously as a podcast, we've started like making it into memes and GIFs and stuff, and using it to like promote the show and stuff. But what is that raw emotion like? We'll park the Bobby situation because that's different. I think we'll talk about that a little bit later. But a general capture, you've gone after a pair of fugitives. Let's use these two for a prime example. What's it like when you finally manage to get them? Or maybe even the Speakmans, when you've followed them around for so long and then, boom, you actually do get hands on.
Do you know, it can really vary. Sometimes you're absolutely over the moon. And when I've been known to jump up so high that I've nearly hit the ceiling. But there are other times when...
You are a jumper, actually.
I am a jumper. I am a jumper, yeah. But there are other times when it's almost like just a deep exhalation of breath because you're just glad it's over. So it can vary. But, of course... they love to see us high-fiving and all that. So, of course, we love to do all that. But there is a genuine fear, sort of feeling of exultation that you've caught somebody, especially if they've been very, very difficult. But as I say, there are times when really you just want to let out a deep breath and put your head down and just go, thank goodness.
Other than the Speakmans, who did you celebrate with the most, excluding Bobby, because that's an extraction, so that's slightly different?
Oh, I think it was probably the Vivienne and Chloe. Not that it's just because it came so out of the blue. It was so unexpected. We weren't hot on their tail. We were looking for Ewan in that area, not them. I'd run from the loo in, a state of dishevelment in order to get on the radio. And then it was just... And it was like, they've caught who? There was genuine shock. And when it was confirmed that actually, no, they've caught them, because I thought it was all a big mistake. When it was confirmed, I was actually just slightly elated because it just was so unexpected.
I guess those particular ones are the ones which you will sort of enjoy more of because they come out of the blue. You do have that little element of the look, and I guess when you're in HQ all the time, yes, you're given a little bit of downtime because you can't work for so long, and you do need various breaks. But when you're in the position that you are as deputy and like Lisa as chief, there's almost an expectation for you to sort of be there and to be organising things in HQ. Like one of the things we see you say a lot of is no celebrations until they've been captured and that sort of thing, and really keeping a calm head on it because anything could happen, especially when they're a team. In fact, we're going to see it in Series 2. There's a guy called Nick Cummins who wins it, who is absolutely great. Yeah. He was likened to the Grey Man, very dull, very boring, but he does a brilliant decoy, and they're all celebrating in HQ. And when it turns out to not be him, the look on the hunter's face. So I guess there must be part of that going through your head as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of possible decoys. And also it's a dangerous time when you're about to catch somebody for us, because if they're in a pair, we want both of them. The biggest risk is that we get one and not the other, because actually we feel no further forward. We've still got a fugitive team. Okay, it's only one rather than two now. Still a fugitive team out there. So we don't feel like we've really gained anything. So what we don't want is, and even if we've caught one and it's confirmed we've caught one, but we've not got the other one, it's too early to celebrate because, and you've seen it on some series. I can't remember which series have aired now and which aren't. But when you get a number,
so the two that haven't aired, just to clarify it for you.
Yeah.
The latest Celebrity Hunted filmed earlier this year, and the Civilian series, which was filmed last year, probably after Celebrity Hunted with Bobby.
Right. Yeah. So when in that one, the one with Bobby and Saffron, there was a lot of splits, weren't there?
Yeah.
There were a lot of splits, and that is so frustrating. So frustrating because you catch one. Okay, you've still got to put exactly the same number of resources into the outstanding one. So no early celebrations is the order of the day, because if you end up with one lone, and a lone wolf can be more dangerous than a pair.
Who would you say is the most formidable fugitive that you've came up against?
Oh, it's probably Sarah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sarah Kibble.
You was expecting
I
that, weren't you?
suspect.
Yeah, her decoy or her drawing you all in while she was at the Scarefest.
Yeah.
That was just so good. The fact that she had all of her friends there in masks and she was in a costume, it was just so clever.
Is she the best fugitive ever? Do you think?
Possibly, yeah.
I can't think of anyone that gets held in such a high regard as what Sarah does. Whenever we do these podcasts, whenever people are putting like comments in, it's always her. Mainly, I think, due to the fact that she could have very easily been part of the HQ team or the ground team because she had those skill sets. And also, she was a solo fugitive.
Yeah.
And it didn't phase her whatsoever. She was just.
And I think it depends on the makeup of the individual and the character, because some people are going to be better in a pair, and some people are going to be better solo. And clearly, that was her forte. There was a lot with Sarah you never saw as well. A lot where we were getting quite close, and she went to some golf clubs. I don't think that really was aired on the TV, and went up into Scotland. And I think we were very close on a number of occasions, particularly when she went to Scotland. And I know we had a hunter team waiting on a round, parked up on a roundabout. And we're pretty sure she was moving, but we didn't have the vehicle. But we were pretty sure that she was going to be moving in that area in a vehicle. But of course, she's laying down in the vehicle where they would have missed it. But I suspect they were no more than a few feet away from her at that point. But ultimately, you saw from the off, you saw her run up that beach, and everyone else looked like they were going backwards. So you looked at that and thought, whoever that is, and we didn't know who it was at the time, they're going to be a problem. And
that launch as well has caused a bit of controversy and will never be done again, I don't think, purely by the fact that if there'd have been one more ferry crossing cancelled, you'd have caught pretty much 6 in one fell swoop, and production would have had to go, yeah, we're going to have to start this again, guys. Come on.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, because, of course, the weather came in, didn't it, quite rapidly. And, I was surprised that they all got off, to be fair, because I didn't think they were all going to get off. And, yeah, you're right. If the weather had closed in a little bit more, or the ferry had been cancelled one before, then it would have been a very short series. A couple of episodes.
It would have just been you chasing Sarah Kibble around and maybe just go, like, right, let's draw lots. Right, one of you in this office has got to go on the run.
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. If you were to pick one person out of HQ that you've worked with that suddenly turncoat goes to a fugitive, who would you hate it to be the most? Who do you think could give you the most toothache?
Someone from the office. So from headquarters, goes fugitive. Ooh, I'm probably going to say Mark.
Yeah, I think he'd be. Yeah.
I think he'd be.
He's been on it from the start. He's
been on it from the start. He knows that he's very competitive. He's very capable. He's smart. I think he would pull out all the stops, and I think it'd be tough.
Yeah, absolutely, he would.
I know it's easy with Mark though, because he's been both, hasn't he?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
It's a difficult one. It's so interesting. And right, let's finish off by talking about the last Celebrity Hunted series. Obviously, the clean sweep, the Bobby Seagull capture, as a piece of television, I think that's probably one of the most incredible bits of edited and things that I've seen. When you're watching that play out in HQ, obviously you're not getting all the music and the stuff which brings the emotion with it.
Yeah.
But it's still quite powerful because you've put so much into it, and you've just everything in terms of for you guys has just fallen right.
Yeah.
And you just know that there's no way, as lovely as he is, that he's getting on that plane.
No, not at that point. Once we've got there, it's always a rush, isn't it? But what we knew at that point was that we were ahead. We'd got to the airfield, and he hadn't got on the plane. So, and we had, 2-3 hunter teams there? 2, wasn't it, I think?
It was 2 that were there on time, yeah, and then 1 turned up just after.
Yeah.
Probably no. I'm not saying
Sorry,
it.
Jordan.
I'm not saying it. I'm trying to be nice.
I can't remember, obviously, because JP and Mel, I do remember, because they were and I think was it Kashi and Shaz? Anyway, whoever it was. I knew that Bobby was going to really, really struggle. And we found out quite a lot about Bobby. And the first thing to say is, what a gentleman. I mean, I've met him since. He's such a gentleman. And he's a West Ham fan. So, you can't... And I found that out quite early, and I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe, give him a few favours, but no, we would never do that. So he's a smart guy. He played a really good game, but I didn't think he was going to get on that plane for one moment. Once the teams were there, he just wouldn't be able to dodge them, and so I was really, really confident. But even then, you're still worried. But my money was always on the Hunters up to that point.
One thing that I think we both liked at the end, you remember, was Lisa gives a really rousing speech about not capturing anybody again in the future.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Sort of, yeah.
It's just it was so powerful. How much of that is just sheer raw emotion? Because like you say, for you guys, they've spent 21 days or whatever it is on the run, moving about, trying to go undetected. You spent 21 days not just hunting down them, but 10, 12 fugitives or whatever it may be. And in the end, you've come out on top. How much of that adrenaline and raw emotion is just so like it just comes so naturally? It must have been such a supercharged room to be in at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've put your heart and soul into it. And we're all very, very competitive, so we wouldn't be doing it. And to get a clean sweep, that's a real emotional boost. And I think that came from the heart, as far as Lisa's concerned. And it doesn't happen every series, and thankfully, because I think it would be a bit of a shame if it did. But from our perspective, we'd take it. We'd take it every series.
It's the only time where it's happened fairly. I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
That is very fair to say, yeah.
Oh, really?
The other clean sweep that they had, which was series 3.
It's the Birmingham.
Yes,
one, right?
there's a bit of controversy around that clean sweep and the helicopter landing.
Timings and permissions.
Oh, really?
The helicopter landing. So we had Harry.
Yes.
Harry Savage, and it was his brother Frank who were on the run. And it was Frank who got captured last. Harry got captured just outside on a street in Birmingham. And the hunter team were obviously all on foot and trying to chase him. The chopper was to take off from the top of one of the car parks at a set time, as obviously extractions are. It turns out, and he said this on the podcast which we recorded with him, that the chopper hadn't landed on time because it couldn't get permission to land. So the time in which they were told to be there, they were there and would have been extracted because the hunters weren't. But because of the delay, the hunters managed to get there and just give them that extra 2, 5, 10, whatever it was, minutes to get their hands on. So there's a little bit of controversy around it in the past. But do you know what? It's 6 of one, half dozen the other, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Because if you've planned an audacious escape, but for some reason the helicopter don't turn up, well, that's tough luck.
And I actually think looking back on that maybe production should have actually said that, and it should have actually been put into the show, because actually that is actually a genuine thing which would happen. You have to get permissions to land planes. You've got to have permissions for them to take off and all of this thing. So why not be open about it?
Yeah.
But it was still early days when that happened, and there'd not been a clean sweep at that point. So I think that the power of the edit, as happens in TV, and the story which that brings overrides the realism of the situation, which I think is probably what it is.
Yeah, no, I get that, absolutely. And I can see why people feel a bit miffed by it.
And of course...
But Bobby's not miffed by it.
No.
It was a very fair capture, I think.
He was very, very fair, and he just knew that he couldn't outrun them, and it's just brilliant to
Not
see.
when Mel's ahead of him. JP's behind him, bearing down. There's another couple of hunters there as well. Is he getting away? Well, if he is, then he deserves it.
This is why it needs to win the TV Choice Award, because whoever was in the production suite deserves full credit for it. Obviously, you guys have done what you need to do, but in terms of bringing it out on the screen, shot so beautifully. There's lovely slow-mo, black and white, monochrome shots of Bobby on the floor, not in tears but obviously gutted he's not made it, and exhausted after a really, really tough time on the run. The hunters almost dancing around him and celebrating around him, which is genius. And then it cuts back to you guys in HQ just losing your shit and just like really, really celebrating a job well done. Lisa's rousing speech. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful
it's
bit of
well
telly.
done, isn't it? Yeah.
But also, on balance of that, it was at the end of Sarah Kibble's series because not just Sarah, she gets talked about a lot, but also you've got Nathan and James. Nathan, who obviously made it to Extraction and won. His story on it in its own is phenomenal. And there's that beautiful shot where he gets into the back of the guy's car. He's the one who struggles to speak and communicate. The guy gives him his coat and looks after him. It's just super, super emotional. And that's what the show's all about, emotion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they were great, Nathan and James, weren't they? And of course, was it James that broke his ankle? Or?
One of them did, yeah.
Yeah. It's so no. I mean, it's beautifully done, and hats off to Jason, the drone guy, because he doubles up. He does. Obviously, he helps us find people. So, and hopefully, if he's in the right place, because obviously, we call him and he's like 600 miles away, it's going to be tough. But he also gets footage for the show, so he's doing two things, and some of that footage that you'll see from the drone, you don't even really think about it. It's absolutely amazing.
It is it's so incredible just to see how much it all comes together, and it's such it's come a long way since that series one.
And what a fantastic aeroplane that was!
Yeah,
that old aircraft. It was gorgeous, wasn't it? Yeah. I know it was another air one, but at least it wasn't a helicopter.
It's a little bit different.
It was a bit different. I love that.
It's the constant helicopters that, but with that being like a different plane, I think it was quite nice. Yeah.
I tell you, you're going to love the next series. You are. I can't say anything about it, but
we can't wait. I mean, the celebrity one obviously is I think the one which everyone's looking forward to. There's a possibility that it could be this year because Stand Up for Cancer have announced that 3rd of November is when they're going to sort of do their next lot of stuff, but no news on whether or not Hunted is going to be involved in that. We don't know. Obviously, we've still got a civilian one, but also we did a little bit of detective work early, didn't we? Where can you now also watch Hunted?
Oh, yeah, you can now watch all of Hunted and Celebrity Hunted on Apple TV.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Because I think the first 3 series are all on Prime now, aren't they?
Yeah, everything is on Apple TV.
Oh, I don't have Apple TV.
So you can get everything on there now.
But can you still watch it on More 4?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the only
We'll
one
stick
I've got.
true to the roots for now. We won't because there's no ads on Apple TV. And
Right. Yeah.
But right, we have got a few quick fire questions for you before we let you shoot off and release you back into the
wild, back out to go do some more hunting.
Absolutely. So we've asked for a few people to send some in. We've mentioned her a lot on the show. Sarah Kibble has sent us a question in. When are you going to let Kibbs join the Hunter team? She has put from anonymous, but.
We know who it is. Yeah, I met Sarah just recently when we went to the New Swimming Show in Birmingham. Leicester.
Yeah.
And I've wanted to meet her since the show, so it was great. But unfortunately, we didn't get enough time to chat because we were obviously watching the show. And we talked about this. I would love to see her on the team. Unfortunately, it's not my decision. I get no say in it whatsoever.
We've said time and time again that she would make a great one, but also in terms of the show, it would be excellent to see either somebody turn to the other side, fugitive to hunter, or vice versa. And this would ruin the show, and this would be completely unrealistic as well. But we've watched Line of Duty, and we quite enjoy the occasional bent copper thing of leaking information, that sort of thing. If people say to us all the time, what would you do if you're on the run? Well, we wouldn't be able to go on the run now. We wouldn't be able to go on Hunter because you guys just know too much about us. But at the same time, I'd be like, yeah, so JP, where are you? Or just messaging people going, where are you? Or whatever, just trying to, I don't know, get a bit of inside info. But that'd kill the show, so we wouldn't want to do that.
Oh, I love it when people say to me and friends say to me, you'd never catch me, Ray. And I always say, so really, what would you do then? And then they start telling me. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think you're that good at this. Not as good as you think.
Speaking of that, Daisy, you don't have to tell us what it is. You can tell us what it is after. But Daisy has sent a question. We've challenged her to use her investigative brain and what she knows about you. 2 truths and a lie. So you've got to think of 2 truths about Ray Howard and 1 lie, which we can come back to later. Give you a little bit of thinking time.
I can't lie.
On it. Just so bad he's bad at lying.
Just that bad at lying. You'll see straight through me. That's why I became a cop and not a criminal.
There you go. JP says, do you have a book of quotes? Which, Well, I think we should do that. We've got Sorry
That'd be
Jordan
good.
t-shirts. I think next, we need to do a range of mugs with some quotes on it.
Okay.
I think that would be awesome, yeah.
It'd be really good fun.
Yeah, definitely.
We could do, soft as shy. We could do get off the fence and pick one. Gather round. This could be a capture. That's one of yours.
Yeah. Dipshits.
Oh, obviously dipshits. I love dipshits. It's great.
Who said that? That's outrageous.
Steve Cotton.
Okay, I don't know. So don't know Steve.
Pre-you, yeah. Pre-your era. So there was a pair of fugitives. There's a lovely YouTube clip of it. Who were they're called Brothers of Swing. They were two mates who basically singing a pub singers. It was when Blex was the chief. They taunted the hunters by doing a gig in a pub and streaming it on Facebook Live, and basically sang, the song "I Love You, Baby."
Yes.
They changed it to "Oh Peter Blexley, you are the love man," and like something like that, and really like riled him. And the HQ team figured out that they were actually there live because they rang the pub and could hear him singing in the background. And Steve and whoever it was with him at that time were on it. He got in the car and said something like, "Woohoo, let's get these fuckers." And then it came through that they were on Facebook Live, and his response was just, "Dipshits." Which is brilliant. So maybe a dipshits range or whatever. Have you got a favourite quote? Have you got something that jumps out which you've said on the show which you think?
Not really. I think probably the Hansel and Gretel thing, just because that landed for me. It made me laugh internally.
Yeah, and I guess there's other stuff which comes out as well, which the HQ do laugh at. And I guess that people do need to realise that police and people that have served in that area will have a dark sense of humour by nature of the job. And that's what it is.
And it is, and sometimes you just hear something, don't you? And it's funny. You think, I'm going to say that because it's just too good not to say it.
Well, we can't wait for what comes up next because honestly, you and Lisa have raised the bar so much of those quotes, and they're just making it a little bit
the cheeky one-liners.
Yeah, the cheeky one-liners, which really do make it right. It's time for 2 serious questions. The first.
Oh, mine.
Yes.
I'm going first. Okay. Ray, what's your favourite biscuit?
Do I have a favourite biscuit? I do. And in fact, I've bought you some of my favourite.
Oh, here we go.
There is no question about this. I won't have it any other way. Scottish shortbread.
Oh, my Ray.
Is by far
made him so happy.
the greatest
biscuit.
It's the greatest biscuit ever made. Now, I will give the Italian biscotti, almond biscotti, it might give it a run for its money, but let's be honest, Scottish shortbread. There's no competition. There's no competition.
You can dip them if you want to, but you can eat them without a cup of tea or a coffee. They're just there, and if you've got the flavour and the sugar right, just spot on. You cannot beat it.
The Marks and Spencer version, let's be fair, it's definitely one of the
Love
best.
an M&S biscuit.
Yeah, I don't think we need to end that question. We will never beat that question.
Nope.
Brilliant. Great. An excellent choice. Right. One final question, a hunted-related question. We have been tasked, this is just the scenario that we use, of creating a new version of Hunted, whereby we go on the run in teams of 4. So it's yourself. It is one former fugitive, one office hunter, and one ground hunter to form the ultimate team. Who are you choosing to be part of your team? Who's going to get you the most, and why are you giving them the specifics?
Oh, that is so difficult. Because, I'm selecting from a team of fantastic, formidable people. So I would go on the run with all of them, any of them, and we'd win. Was that allowable, or do you...
No.
Okay. But because they are all amazing. There's some people like it, because I know Doug's very popular, isn't he?
Cyber Doug, yeah.
Cyber Doug is very, very popular, and I can see why. However, I would like Cyber Doug as one of my go-tos, someone who can help me from the outside. Because I think Doug could do... I think he'd do more as an associate. Than actually... And I would worry, because Doug's a bit of a party animal as well. I think week 2, we might find him with a designer beer in his hand somewhere, and getting caught in a pub somewhere. But, so hard. Okay, all right. So Sarah Kibble is the answer in terms of fugitive. I've got no question about that. I think she'd be formidable. We've seen her win. She's got the police and military background. I think physically that she'd go through hardships. I think she could crash in a tent and sleep rough and all that sort of stuff. So Sarah's an easy one. In terms of a ground hunter, that's much more difficult because actually they're all so brilliant.
I'm going to throw a little caveat in there. You cannot choose Mark.
Oh!
I knew that's where your brain was going. I could see you formulating Mark.
That's not fair. I was formulating Mark.
Because the reason you can't choose him is because he's served as
That's
both.
why you choose him.
Yeah, but that's why we're not allowing you to choose him. It's got to be someone that's And
he's very, and I think Mark would do brilliant. He's very, I mean, he would play the game very well, I think. But okay, so I can't choose Mark. Let's put the cat amongst the pigeons. I'll come back to ground hunters then because I need to give that some thought. Headquarters or okay, I've got a choice of two. I've got to narrow this down. It's either going to be.
Let's weigh up the pros and cons for both then.
So, Steve.
Smiley Steve.
Percy, as you would call him, Smiley.
Smiley Steve on this podcast because he never stops smiling. I've never seen him grumpy.
He's never grumpy. He's one of the most measured people. He does stop smiling very rarely. Very rarely when he's sleeping. I'm told. It's not like I've seen him sleeping.
Steve Hurst sleeps with a smile.
I bet he does. I mean, he's incredibly smart. He's been in it since the beginning. He knows the game. He'd be fantastic. But I would have to put Hattie in there as well. Hattie.
Storm the Nandos.
Hattie is again very, very smart, very capable, very competitive and driven. She's not long had a baby though.
That's true, yeah.
But do you know what? Hattie will be back on form. So, which one of those I'm going to choose? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to go Hattie. Because I need a woman on my team.
Well, you've already got Kibble. So
I've already got Kibble. Yeah. Oh no, you're throwing the
I think Kibble and Hattie would make a good pair.
I think they would.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I think they'd be really good together.
Yeah.
I think they'd work really well together.
They bounce off each other really well, I think, and just come up with like convoluted ways to go hidden. I think you've got a strong.
I think we're going well there. Yeah, I think we're going well there. Okay,
so you've got it.
So we're doing well, but now it's a ground hunter, isn't it? And that is the hardest one.
And I've said you can't have Mark, which I'm not going to apologise for now.
Can I have someone from the office as a ground hunter? I'll take Giles as a ground hunter. Giles would be awesome.
You can't. No, I'm sorry. There's the rules
really
of the game.
strict.
I am being really strict. Yeah, it's got to be someone that we see.
Strict. Very unfair.
I know. It's got to be someone you see on the ground that we.
Okay, I am going to go then. You forced my hand. I'm going to go JP.
Yeah,
good choice.
Just because I think we'd have good fun. I think we'd have a good laugh. He's easy to get along with, and I think JP would definitely persuade people to help us.
Yeah.
He's amiable and likable.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's the GoPro dying on me. It's fine.
Oh, we're used to that.
Yeah, I know.
GoPro's dying, yeah.
I know. That must be such a horrible thing. It looks like you've always got to turn the equipment on and get the. But you guys won't have it as much as what the ground team will.
No. It's the ground teams that have it. Yeah, we had it on the Heist a few times. So, but just to confirm, my team is me, Sarah Kibble, Hattie, and JP.
Yeah,
that's a winning team.
Yeah. That's a good team.
That's a winning team.
That's a very good team. I think a formidable team against some that we've had some interesting. We started asking this a few episodes ago, and we've really started to get some competitive team, all to the point that we might need to do it.
But more important than that is who our associates are, and we've got Doug and Steve Hersey.
That's it.
Daisy and Anjali and Lindsay and all these people. No one would catch us.
Yeah.
No one would catch us.
I almost need to see this show now, but if you say no one's going to catch you, then...
I've not thought about the associates before.
Mind you, I've forgotten Adara, haven't I? What about...
You're going to be thinking about this like this.
Okay, no, fine. We've got a team.
Yeah.
But it's not a fair question because I'd go on the run with any of them. They're all brilliant.
I don't know. I think you'd make a great team, and I think it would be really interesting to see. One last one. What about having civilians in HQ? What about a program idea where 1 year you've obviously got civilians that are going on the run.
Yeah.
What about bringing some civilians in, doing it the opposite way around, and expert hunters become the fugitives.
Yeah.
And you and maybe like, let's say, for example, let's split the team down. So your job is more like ops based, isn't it? And coordination.
Yeah.
You've got Lisa, who obviously brings it all together.
Yeah.
You've got Cyber Doug,
Yeah.
and then who does all the cyber work. Obviously, it's self-explanatory. And then you've got Smiley Steve, who does like intelligence and can dabble in the cyber bit as well.
Yeah.
And things like that. And then you've got like Daisy, who can like do all the sort of
open source
stuff. So you've
in fact, there's a lot more to Daisy than that.
Of course.
Yeah, you watch the next. Anyway,
Yeah.
I just dangle it out there. You'll see Daisy do some things that you probably be surprised.
Look forward to that.
Yeah.
So you've got those 5 people in key areas, and then each one has 2 civilians that they have to train up and like become part of their team. Would you trust civilians, or is it like to do it, or would you think that the process of trying to explain to them and trying to get them up to speed on processes would be too much against the team? Like,
I think it's interesting. I think bringing in civilians might bring some new ideas and new ways of thinking, which might be beneficial. But I think I'd be concerned. What's the opposite of a clean sweep?
Full house, where they all win like 10 grand each.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we're heading for in that scenario.
I think there was a show that tried it once. It was a Channel 4. I think Channel 4 had it. One of the murder authors wrote the script for it.
Oh.
We started watching. It's called like Murder Island or something, and we watched it for a little bit. And basically, like there was a team of detectives, and each detective had a pair of civilians who were like acting as the detectives, and they had to work out this murder, and all the people were like actors and stuff. And that was quite a way of doing it. But what we're basically trying to say is, can we get us into HQ, please? Because we're,
Well, you must come for a visit. I'm sure if we talk to Shine, you could come for a visit. And,
we would love that, wouldn't we?
Spend a few hours, just a couple of hours in seeing how it's all done.
We wouldn't
had visitors before.
We wouldn't break anything. We'd bring biscuits and
cake.
Oh, there's plenty of biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many biscuits there. You would unbelievable.
Love it. Can't wait. Right, without giving anything too much away, what can people expect from the next Celebrity Hunted and the next civilian series of Hunted? Dangle the carrot.
Well, Civilian Hunted, I think there are some fantastic fugitives on there, but whether they're good enough to beat the fantastic hunters, you'll have to tune in and see. But it's gone up a level. It's definitely gone up a level. And in relation to the celebrity one, there are some fantastic celebrities on there, and they run us all over the show, all over the place. But at the end of the day, they're just celebrities, aren't they? So pretty vacuous, most of them, aren't they?
Look forward to more quotes like that and more top quality telly when Hunted finally comes on screen. Ray, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Not just to do this and talk about your Hunted journey, but also the Series 1 stuff. Really appreciate your time. No doubt our paths will cross again, and we'll have you back for a future rewatches. Maybe we'll even do a little Heist reunion as well. And
anytime, I would love that.
That'd be great. Finally, for people that want to send their opinions, their comments, their questions, where can they do it?
Twitter @HuntedPod, Instagram @HuntedPod, Facebook HuntedPod, or email huntedpod@outlook.com.
For now, though, there is only one thing left to say, and that is, Ray Howard, your time on the pod is over, and you have been hunted.
Thank you.
And there you have it. Raymondo has been captured. His time on the pod is over. For now, we'll be back at some point. Yeah, we'll definitely have to have him back.
Yeah.
What a guest, by the way.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant guest to have on the podcast. And oh my word, haven't we had some phenomenal guests this year?
We have. We have had some lovely people.
Like, this time last year, we were obviously moving house.
Yeah.
And we'd only done like 10 episodes of the Hunted podcast. And to be honest, we didn't really know what we were going to do with it, did we? Where it was going to go or anything like that. Like if we'd carry on doing it or anything.
Nope.
But we decided to when Celebrity Hunted came out.
Yes.
And we got, well, a really good reception.
Yeah, we did.
And off the back of that, we've been able to interview some brilliant people. Can you list them?
Steve Cotton.
Yes.
Paul Cashmore.
Hang on, Steve Cotton was last year.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Steve was in the original 10.
Cashmore.
Yes.
The Speakmans.
Yes.
Bobby.
Yes.
JP.
Yes.
Bet.
Yes.
Ray Howard.
Yes. And we've got one more coming up for you people. Now, Of all these people, when we've asked a certain question at the end of the podcast, we asked it there with Ray, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like, who would you have on your hunted team of fugitive, one office hunter, one ground hunter? What has everybody said?
A certain fugitive.
Yes, a certain series
6
winner,
Yeah.
Sarah Kibble. After months and months
And months.
of hunting her down, we finally achieved it last weekend for us.
Yes.
We went on a trip to Great Yarmouth. We got a meeting room, did exactly the same thing, and we sat down and spoke at length with Sarah Kibble about all things hunted. She's a mega fan of the show, not only a Series 6 winner, she knew more than us.
Yeah, she did.
So really, we should hand this podcast over to her. Maybe.
Nah.
Alright, but we'll have her as a guest, yeah?
Yes.
And that episode is coming up next week here on the Hunted Podcast. If you've enjoyed all things Hunted and Hunted Podcast related, and you want to send us a comment, question or opinion, or you've got a guest suggestion for next year, 2024, or a series suggestion about what we want to watch or do, or what you'd like to see us do, please get in touch.
Twitter @HuntedPod, Instagram @HuntedPod, Facebook HuntedPod, or email huntedpod@outlook.com, and please say something more than hi.
We've also got a Threads thing, which we barely look at, and a WhatsApp number, which we can't remember. But we'll share it at some point on our socials. Get in touch. Probably Instagram's the best way, really. Instagram or email, I'd say. Get in touch. Right, there's only one way to end this this podcast, and before we go into next week's one with Sarah Kibble.
Yeah.
And that is with another Christmas joke. Want to hear it?
Go on then.
I've got one for you.
Oh, okay. Off you go then.
You ready?
Yeah.
Why couldn't the snowman have kids?
I don't know.
Because he's got...
snowballs.
See you next week for more highbrow content like that.
Bye.
You try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they drag the chains, you can say no, free me.